Jodi Arias Rose-Colored Glasses by Carl R. Torsbin's former deputy warden in Arizona Department of Corrections and New Mexico Department of Corrections, former deputy warden of the Special Management Unit 2 in Florence, Arizona, and familiar with the death row part and the life section of the special units. Convicted murderers in Arizona face a challenge like no other prison in the United States. They face the ultimate test of survival and try to stay alive for a term sentenced or waiting the execution date for the death warrant to be served and put on death row. Arias showed no level of rational or logical understanding of our prison system when she addressed the jury on Tuesday. She was totally in another world that showed a dramatic disconnect viewpoint or expectation between the reality and the prison world that she's about to enter. This reality check is bizarre because it seems like she has no idea what the heck is going to happen once the ADOC takes her into custody. It's important that she gets a reality check real quick before she enters those gates. And it's important that her lawyer talks to her and tries to get her head set so that she doesn't flip out because of the extreme circumstances that exist in the Perryville prison system. Remember, this is the place where Marcia Powell died in the heat when she was left in an uncovered cage without water. She's a dreamer. She will experience on one or the other that they're actually in the same dark environment where the public has no idea what goes on. She will never see programs where she says, programs I can start and people that I can help and programs that I can participate in are non-existent. She's totally out of touch with reality when she said that to the jury, and it must be made clear to her that the only program she's going to have is a program of one. There will be no others to share it with. Thus, her dreamer is going to be a nightmare. This young lady has no idea of what she's getting into. I don't know who coached her, but it was bad advice to tell the jury all those things because they're going to fool. She's only fooling herself. Her destiny is of isolation. Her destiny after the trial, whether she gets put on death row or serve a life sentence without parole, is set. Fate will demand she will be isolated and kept away from others for the rest of her life. She may manage to cope, but it's likely she will contemplate suicide like many others in Arizona prisons. Her chances are slim to survive this ordeal, and it's likely she will be dead before her sentence is completed. Again, another reality check that the conditions of confinement that she's about to enter are so horrible and so desolate that hope and despair will hopelessness and despair will set in, and she will change and become something that prisoners do to you when you're put in isolation. I hesitate to call it solitary confinement, but it's been called that in order to describe the conditions. Confinement conditions, metaphorically, wearing ball and chain wherever she goes, she'll experience the mental and physical pain. She will be tortured by her own device and suffered at the hands of loneliness and despair. Those around her will taunt her to no end and drive her crazy. It's just that kind of world she's going to, and nothing can stop it. This is going to happen whether she wants it to happen or not. This is the reality of it. Her confinement conditions are going to be harsh, toxic, and unreal, and will take a toll on her mentally and physically. Perryville is a maximum custody unit for women, and I believe they have 3 people on death row there right now. Arias has unreal ideas. Starting a book club will consist of a book club of 1. If she recycles, it'll be recycled bin will be in her cell, likely disposed of as contraband, for she's not allowed to have much property while there. Reality will hit her sooner than ever. Arias will have so much time to stare at the walls, her mind will search for voices to talk to, even when she's alone. Again, the unreality of solitary confinement and being locked up 22 hours a day is going to basically drive her crazy. And whether she wants to start a book club or not is irrelevant, because the only thing she'll be able to do is read a book by herself. And even that number is limited. Moving on. There are draconic conditions, cruel and unusual it may seem to many. Arizona prisons, the standards are 100 years old. There aren't any accommodations for compassion or empathy. Staff abide a book and they do exactly what they're told. They follow policies and procedures, and no exceptions. She will be housed in the same area where Marcia Powell died in the heat of the Arizona weather, which kept her in an outdoor enclosure that is now shaded and has water, but nevertheless a cage. She will be exposed to the same harsh and toxic conditions as Miss Powell was, and she will have to endure it better than Powell, because things have just gotten to the point where maximum security is one of the toughest places to do time in Arizona. The conditions of confinement are cruel and unusual, but the nature of her crime makes it feel like it's almost adequate. Consequences in life, it's likely Jodi Arias will likely realize that she has done will never outdo her sentence. Whether life without parole or a death sentence, Arias has already begun a journey to the walking dead as she enters the Perryville prison completely unaware of what is in store for her and how cruel it will be to her sanity, her health, and her existence on earth as she knows it today. This will change completely. It is unbelievable transformation or transition from the free world into the prison world, and these are all because of the consequences of committing a crime and likely getting life or death inside of Perryville women maximum security prison. It's just the way the law is written in Arizona, and there are no exceptions to that. I give credit to the azfamily.com news article, The Truth Behind Jodi Arias' Grand Plans for Prison, and also for Associated Press for the photos that I used. I appreciate it. I think it's important that you look at this video, keep it in context. She has no idea what she's getting into. And the reason I did this video was because a lot of people, especially the public who don't have family members inside prison, think that, you know, when you do time, you go to a country club or you go to a place where you have a shelter, 3 square meals a day, free medical and dental and psychological treatment. The truth of the matter is all those things are in existence. However, the availability and the actual delivery of such things depend on your ability to cope and function in a system that will test you in every fiber of your body. Be safe. I always say to my correctional officers and to people involved in corrections, do your job with professional attitude and be safe.